Daddy fished the Atlantic Ocean and he fished in the mountains for trout. He fished everywhere, but the most fun he ever had fishing was fishing in Cumberland River for trout lines. Now, a trout line is you take a line and it would go from one side of the river to the other side of the river. And about every 12 to 18 inches you would tie a line about a foot long with a hook on the end of it. Now, before you go to the river, you'd go to a pond or a creek or something, and you would seine it with a seine, which is a net with a stick on each end, and you'd seine through and you'd catch these little perch so big. And then you would take those perch, and that's what you would bait your trout line with. And you'd have about 100 or so hooks more on this trout line. And ever how many fishermen would be fishing, if there were 3 fishermen, you'd have 3 trout lines, 4, so forth on. So then you would put out your trout lines in the morning real early, and then you go back all day at camp and you'd sit there and you'd play 7-up or poker, eat lunch, drink a beer, or what you wanted to do. And then later on, late that afternoon, you'd go back and run your trout line. In other words, you'd go back and check your trout line, see if you had anything. So it didn't take you long to figure when you got to hold that trout line on at one end, tied to a branch of a tree hanging out, that if you had something on there, because the fish usually ran, wasn't uncommon to catch fish from 15 to 50 pounds or something. They would you'd really get a bunch of fish, and pretty soon you'd have more fish than you knew what to do with. But that, Daddy always enjoyed that. I guess the camaraderie of being with the guys around the campfire and sleeping in tents and running the trout lines together and all that kind of stuff. He really enjoyed that. On one of these fishing trips, like I said, they'd all drank too much. Old Red Marriman, he'd always get drunk. Red was laying in the tent in there on a cot. Red was definitely afraid of snakes. Somebody caught a little old black snake, about 2 or 3 feet long. And so they took one of these trout line hooks and lines, and they tied the line around the snake's head. Dr. Chisholm, who's mean as a snake, he took the hook and he pricked Red's leg with it twice, just enough to draw a little blood. They woke Red up and said, Red. Red sat up and said, son, hate to tell you, said, you been snake bit. Said, Red looked down there, and there was blood. He looked, and there's the snake in bed with him, So he jumped out of bed, and he ran out through there about 20 yards, and he stopped and huffed, puffed, looked down, and that damn snake was still there right with him, He ran another 20 yards. He stopped, the snake was right with him because that hook was hooked to his pant leg where he couldn't get away from it. That snake was still right with him. That snake, everywhere he go, that snake would be with him. And Red finally just almost collapsed, and they all were just dying laughing and everything. And somebody said, God, it sure is good we were fishing and not hunting, because if we'd been hunting, Red would have taken a gun and shot every one of us. The biggest fish tail around the farm down there always was before the locks and dams. The backwater would get up and cover all the river bottoms. Now, between us and Uncle George Harville's land down there, the fence running through the swamp, the posts and everything in the fence would sort of rot out every year. And when the fence would get deteriorated and everything, instead of taking it all out and everything, everybody would just go through there and just run another fence. So pretty soon the fence was, pretty thick, tied up like this. So one year the river was up real high, and overnight it just dropped out of sight. It dropped like 12 feet overnight. So when it did, all these fish that had been in the river bottoms feeding and everything, they all were caught behind that fence. And I mean, the fish were just piled in there on top of each other, these huge fish. And so guys went down there and they started telling everybody, and I don't know how many guys showed up down there, and they all started taking out all these fish, and a lot of them were trash fish, buffalo and sturgeons and suckers, and all just, there was some good fish, there was some catfish in there. So they literally got in there with pitchforks, and they'd just take pitchforks and just pitch fish out, just like that. And so they finally decided what the thing to do with it. They had so many fish that there was a place in Cookville that would buy them and make animal food. So they took out fish by the wagon loads, literally by the wagon loads. And the biggest one they got out was a 97-pound buffalo. Huge fish, huge fish. I remember Jimmy Huddleston was up there. We had Daddy's 30-30 rifle, and there were these little slits in the ground, ran up through the fields there, and the water would be 2 or 3 feet deep, but the little slits about this big. And we'd go up through there, and you could see these fish swimming through there. And we'd take that 30-30 rifle, and we'd shoot down, and the impact of that would stun those fish, and they'd come flying up to the top. That's how we'd get. We just leave them there. We didn't have anything to do with them. So we had fun doing that.